Hi everyone, I'm Andrea and welcome back to Buenas Noticias in Easy English. Este canal es para personas que están aprendiendo inglés y quieren mejorar sus habilidades de escuchar y hablar de una manera tranquila y amigable. This channel is for people who are learning English and who want to improve their skills in a fun and relaxing way. What better way to learn English than through happy news and stories from around the world? If you think that I'm speaking too fast, then slow down the speed in your settings. If you think that I'm speaking too slow, then speed up the speed in your settings. Also, look for the English transcript in the More section of the video. Eventualmente espero incluir transcripciones en español también. Sometimes reading the transcript before listening to the video can help you understand better, especially if you're a beginner. So that's a good technique to try if you need some practice in comprehension. Okay, those are enough notes for today. Let's get started with our good news story of today, which comes to us from the Galápagos Islands in Ecuador. For almost 200 years, giant tortoises, tortoises, had disappeared from one island in the Galápagos called Floreana. In the 1800s, sailors, marineros, and settlers hunted the tortoises for food, and they also invited or brought other animals to the island from their countries, and those animals destroyed the tortugas' nests, nidos, and ate the tortoises' eggs. So by the mid-1800s, the Floreana giant tortoise was gone, extinguido. But now something extraordinary is happening. Extraordinary. At the end of February, conservacionistas, or ambientalistas, released 158 young tortoises onto Floreana Island. That's 158 young tortoises. These tortoises are between 8 and 13 years old, and they were raised in a special breeding program. That's cría, breeding, after scientists discovered something remarkable. In 2008, the researchers, investigadores or cientistas, found that some tortoises on another island still had strong genetic connections to the original Floreana tortoise. Somehow, part of the lost lineage, linaje, had survived on this other island. So more than 600 young tortoises have now been bred, criado, and the first group is finally returning home. So to make that clear, they bred other tortoises from the other island, and now they're bringing them back onto Floreana Island. Have you ever heard of a story, maybe you did a few years ago, called Lonesome George? This was also happening in the Galápagos. Lonesome George, lonesome, desolado, lonesome. He was the last known tortoise of his species, species, from the Galápagos. And when he died in 2012 or 2012, his species also officially disappeared. And his story became a global symbol of extinction and a reminder of what can happen when we act too late to save a species. But this time, the story's not about the last tortoise. It's not about extinction. It's about bringing a species back. There's another famous tortoise named Diego. He became known as a tortoise who helped save his own species through a successful breeding program. Scientists estimate that he fathered hundreds of offspring. Offspring is descendencia, or hijos. Descendencia, offspring. And that helped the population of his breed of tortoise come back to higher numbers. Now Floreana's tortoises may have their own version of that same story as Diego's. The project is part of a long-term ecological restoration effort. And this effort, this long-term ecological restoration effort, is not only about tortoises. Giant tortoises have a big influence on the environment. In fact, they shape the environment because as they move, they spread, difundir or propagar, seeds, semillas. They create pathways and they help plants grow. Scientists sometimes even call them the architects of the ecosystem. So when they come back to an island, the island begins to change too. They're not the only ones who benefit. The island benefits too. In fact, NASA, the space organization, NASA, they even use satellite data to help determine where the tortoises would have the best chance to survive. So they located areas that would be the best option for them to survive, and not just for 1 year, because tortoises live a long life. So, I mean, some tortoises live even up to 100 years, I think. But this plan is to get places for them that they can survive for at least 20 to 40 years, because that will give them enough time to reproduce, reproduce. So this type of conservation work takes a lot of patience, paciencia, patience, and it's not an overnight process. But it does remind us that conservation is not only about preventing loss, sometimes it's about restoration, and sometimes it's about second chances. And we all need second chances. And now, after almost 200 years of being extinct, the giant tortoises of Floreana Island are having their second chance. They're walking around on their island again. And that's very good news. If you learned some new words and enjoyed the story about tortoises, please leave a comment and like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time for more Buenas Noticias in Easy English. By the way, this story was originally reported at Smithsonian Magazine, and the link is in the description. Bye!